Hey everybody, today we're going to do a video, or should I say I'm going to do a quick video with, I'm just going to share my screen with you because my webcam is such poor quality that you don't want to watch that pixelated video. But what I'm going to do is, today I want to do a review of the Proven Amazon course, and I'm just going to give you a bit of background because I think for far too long a lot of these courses online around online selling, especially Amazon, Shopify, kind of hot topics at the moment, they don't get enough proper coverage. By that I mean every review you see is from affiliates. Some of them are obvious shills, some of them are probably paid, some of them are probably sincere. And if you ever read any material on my website or follow along with some of the stuff I've done in private label, I don't like affiliate marketing in general. I'm not a big fan of what it does to the industry. And, you probably know, I know, if I'm an affiliate, I can't possibly give you a proper non-biased judgment of a product or a service because it goes against my own financial incentives. It's just all the incentives are kind of out of line. And personally, I've done quite a lot of courses. I've gone through lots of courses. So many that I've decided to start doing a review series, but I'm doing an honest review series. So I'm not an affiliate for any of these courses. I'm going to share my experiences with them, and I'm going to blast a few of them as well because some of the affiliate marketing messages I get, like I said, I'm kind of a marketer myself. I do a little bit of this, I do a little bit of that. I've read all the copywriting books and all that stuff. And there's certain things I see sometimes, and what can I say? They trigger me, and it's pissed me off enough that I'm going to do a whole new series, and they're going to be brutally honest course reviews. Like I said, if you ever read my blog or if you've come from my website, you'll know that that's my style, that's how I do things. I don't mince words. Sometimes I swear. If you like it, fine. If you don't like it, that's also fine. So I've decided to make a video of this simply because I haven't updated any articles in a while because I've been too busy with Shopify and Etsy and kind of other business models and things. And I write such in-depth long articles that they kind of suck all my energy out of me. So I was going to initially plan this as a series of articles, but I've decided instead I'm going to go the video route, and I think that'll be hopefully quicker and easier. So that's just an important preface for you to understand who I am and where I'm coming from. If you've clicked onto this video randomly from YouTube or maybe Google, I just wanted you to have that background information. So like I said, that's enough with the fluff. I want to talk about the Proven Amazon course by Jim Cockrum, usually called PAC. So I've got a few things to say about the course, the units, Jim Cockrum, and his Facebook group, which I've been in for, 3 years now. Let's start with the course itself. So I want to say right off the bat that I think Proven Amazon course is a good course. It's a good collection of materials, and it's a good fair price point. Okay, I think it's good value for money. Once you buy in, okay, all the updates and things they add, I'm just showing it to you on my screen from the members area. You get all of this, things that get added, you get as well. It's very good. One good thing about it is, apart from the fact you pay once and you get future updates to the course, is they have a fairly good and active community. But the real interesting thing about it is you've got multiple Amazon business models in here as well. So you can see they've got like an overview. They've got instructions on how to list inventory, prep it, ship it, an Amazon glossary, and then they've got sections. So if you want to do private label, here's private label. If you want to do retail arbitrage, here's retail arbitrage. If you want to do book sourcing, wholesale sourcing. So it's one of the very few places that brings in lots and lots and lots of different Amazon selling strategies in one place, and that's pretty good. You can see they've got this proven performance inventory. They've got a keyword research thing. Like I said, the proven audience formula, something about Facebook ads, and merch by Amazon, international selling, going international, yada yada yada. There's an awful lot of stuff in here, okay? Even stuff on taxes, teams, all kinds of stuff. So you get a lot of different Amazon ideas in one place, which can be quite good sometimes because ideas can cross-pollinate. You can take things that work from one place another place, and that's pretty good. Also, I'm just going to say real quick here that the snoring you can hear in the background is my Chihuahua, who's got a very small nose, and it's just in case you think somebody's sleeping on the sofa, it's actually my dog. So I'll just throw that one out there. Anyway, back to the review. So that's pretty good. Most courses are standalone. If it's a private label course, it's a private label. If it's retail hub, it's retail hub. If it's merch, it's merch. It's pretty good, and the price point's good. Those are the good things, okay? Like I said, an active group. Now let's talk about the bad things, okay? Let's talk about the things the average affiliate isn't going to talk about. They're not going to tell you, or they're going to brush over them, or they're just going to kind of, this is fine. Here's my freaking affiliate link, but you can trust me, okay? Well, there's some serious problems that I have with PAC. Although I've just said it was good, and it is, it's also a completely unpolished product in a lot of ways, and I'm going to tell you why I think this. So the first problem I have with PAC is the quality of a lot of these materials and a lot of the courses. Like I said, you see it all. There's an awful lot of stuff. Looks good, and they do have good strategies as well. But the problem is a lot of what they call courses are not really proper courses, okay? What they are is webinars, multiple webinars recorded and then mashed together on a subject. Now, I'm quite a good self-learner, okay? I've taught myself foreign languages. I teach myself a lot of other things as well. I taught myself private label with the help of a course. I'm the kind of person that I can sit down and I can crack through with things, okay? A bunch of webinars is not a good way, and is not a good effective structure for a course. It's just not. It's crap. It's a webinar, and it's not good enough. The only reason it gets a pass is because it's bunched up with other values. So it kind of is like, well, all right, it's not standalone. So I want to just show you an example. This is proven private label. Here's the structure. Webinar 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's 10 units. And then here we go. Another thing I'm going to slam them for in a minute is the coaching. Look, private label can be an extremely intimidating, complex, time-sucking, nerve-blasting thing, okay? I've done it for years. And when I started, your mind explodes. People frequently spend months sourcing. People send me emails, and they get stuck all the time, and they always have all kinds of questions and whatever. Usually it's because they try and do it for free via webinars and stuff. I'm not convinced that 10 webinars is going to do the job. I mean, I don't want to watch an hour and 30-minute webinar on how to pick a product, okay? I want a structured course that gives me all the different strategies for choosing and picking private label products, starting with basically which tools you can use like Jungle Scout, Amazow, how you can use their databases to get ideas, things to look for. I mean, there's a million and one things to talk about here. But like I said, webinars is not a good structure. Another example of this, like there's a course, so say for international sellers, which I tried to use, I don't know, 2 or 3 years ago because I was unsure of how to do it, going international for US-based sellers. I found it completely useless. What I need is instructions, and I need to commonly asked questions. I need to understand, as a UK person, what's my tax liability? Can you at least... I understand everybody has a problem with understanding how how a tax nexus works and FBA inventory. What's my liability? Do I have to have a US company? Do I not have to have a US company? If I'm from the US, how do I sell in the UK? What you're seeing here, you're going to come away with just being equally as confused as you were before, especially on on the tax question for UK sellers and other sellers. This is just, again, smushed up webinars. They're nowhere near as clear as they need to be. If you want a good, one of the best things I ever found with tax information for international sellers and stuff was an Amazing Seller podcast he did with the guy from Tax Jar. I mean, it was like probably a year ago or something, but it was very, it was very good, very kind of comprehensive. But I'm not going to touch that question. I'm just saying, if you're wondering about it, you're not going to get good answers here. Okay, Amazon Global Sellings, FBA, other stuff, yada yada yada, selling into the US from other countries. Like I said, I have a much more detailed article, say on the topic of how US sellers can sell in the UK, all this stuff, VAT, talking to VAT specialists. You've got a question and there's an answer. It's very simple. Other things we're not going to go into, like I said, there are a lot of webinars. I want to look at, like I said, you get access to these courses, but they're not all created equally. Now, I haven't obviously gone through all these courses, so I'm not going to, some might be really good. I have no idea. I'm just going to talk about the ones that I've gone through myself and what I've found use from. Big complaint a lot of people have is the organization. Like if you've just bought a course, you're new to you're making money online, you have some ideas, you want to do something, make money on Amazon, you open this course, it's going to completely explode your brain because, oh my God, look at all these videos. The user interface is kind of, it's pretty meh. Okay, scroll down. The way to use it properly is to understand which business model you want to do in the first place. So you think to yourself, okay, I want to do merch by Amazon and I want to do private label. So you come into PAC, you go straight to the private label part, you go straight to the merch part. You keep it simple, but you have to already know which business model you want to do. Otherwise, you get confused because there's a lot of stuff and they do add a lot of things. I mean, you can see recent updates. They add in good, different webinars and stuff. So it's very good value for money, and you get some other things with it as well. You get updates to any of Jim's books, which is, his Silent Sales Machine. It's a good book. It underlies a lot of good kind of principles for making money online. That's all good stuff. The problem is, I'll give you an example. When I started, I was only interested in private label. Again, this is about 3 years ago. I was only interested in private label. At that time, PAC was very much retail arbitrage focused, and everyone was like, oh, don't start with private label, start with retail arbitrage first to get your feet wet. I was like, no, fuck that. I don't want to have anything to do with retail arbitrage. I don't live in the UK anymore. I don't live in America. I'm not going to do retail arbitrage. I don't want to do online arbitrage. I hate going to the shops with my wife. I hate going outside. That doesn't jive with me. Private label, at the time I'd seen the Amazing Selling Machine sales videos, their kind of info webinars, and it made sense to me. I was like, okay, yeah, this is what I want to do. I can be based from anywhere. For example, I'm in Bulgaria at the moment with my wife and my child and my dog with a funny snore. Okay. And I was like, that works for me. But $3-4 grand for that course, I haven't got that money. So I got into the Proven Amazon course because at the time they already had a private label course, and they already had they were adding another one called Proven Private Label by Tom Freeman. Was his name Tom Freeman? We'll say Tom Freeman. Pretty sure it was. So that was why I joined PAC, and I wasn't interested in any of this other stuff you see here. I just went straight to Proven Private Label, and I followed all of it. And at the time, that was a pretty good course. It was nice and well structured. And again, for the time, this was pre-Jungle Scout. There was no Jungle Scout. It was just you had to look at the BSR and juggle things around. It was just a completely different ball game. It's not like now where you've got way too much software and different developers shoving software down your throat. Oh, you need this for this. You need this for customer messages. You're going to be paying $60-70 a month just on software that you probably don't even need to get the job done, which is to sell stuff and to make money. Side rant. But the point is, it was a different time, and the course at that time was very good. The problem was, in the advertising, it's like, oh, we have 2 private label courses. There was another private label course they had. I can't even remember what it was called. But listen, I'm not going to mince my words because I went through that other course first because I was hoovering up every piece of information I could. The other course, which has since been removed, was pure shit. It was just some guy on a crappy kind of connection, almost like a Skype call, much like my own audio quality that you're listening to right now. And it was just like some guy randomly reeling off like ideas because he had done something, and essentially his whole strategy came down to go and ask your friends or your wife's friends what they're interested in, and then make an improved version of that. That was the whole thing, and it was just full of fluff and shit and filler. And the guy seemed like a very nice guy, very good intentions, but this doesn't need to be a course. And again, it wasn't structured as a course. It was literally just a series of recorded webinars and stuff. It didn't cover anything from like, I wanted to know how to brand stuff. I wanted to know about China. I wanted to know how to import things. Where do I find a supplier? Where do I go? What do I do? How do I pay tax? What the hell is going on? I had a million questions. How do I find an item which is and this guy just says, yeah, well, go and ask your wife's friends, see what they like, and then make a better version of that. Well, yeah, okay. I mean, but that's appalling advice. That's terrible advice, really. I mean, let's start with proper market research first. Let's look at Amazon. Back then the popular thing to do was to scan the top 100 sellers. It doesn't really work anymore, but it kind of did back then. It was a common thing people did. I did it myself. There wasn't even any mention of that, like basic stuff. It's like saying, going for a driving lesson and somebody saying, well, get in the car and just have a good old go on the wheel and slide those gears back and forth real smooth and watch out for pensioners walking on the road. It's like, wait, go back to the gear thing a minute. What's a clutch? Is it what, automatic? To even have that course, and for somebody to have looked at that and put it into a thing that you charge money for. I mean, is somebody asleep at the wheel or what? It's shit. Nobody can work with that course. This bullshit. They've taken it down since. Which, I think unless it's in here hidden somewhere. So another one, they've updated the course I took, which was Tom Freeman's. Eventually it went out of date. With private label stuff, with the popularity, you have to stay on top of it. And you have to stay, there's continuously things changing in Amazon, strategies that work, didn't work, lots of stuff going on. It became, I don't know, probably the most popular online make money thing I've ever seen. And I've seen quite a lot of the stuff. So I saw an update. Okay, Proven Private Label 2. So I click into it. This is what I showed you. And I see that it's gone from the well-structured, properly put together full course that Tom Freeman made, together with bundles of PDFs and information. Like I'm telling you, it was a fully fledged course, and it was solid, rock solid for the time. And they've replaced it with this, which is a bunch of webinars. Come on. Go screw yourself. You're going to give me a bunch of webinars? How the hell am I, as a new person, supposed to just roll through this? I mean, they've wrapped in logos, packaging, and optimizing your listings in one thing. Optimizing a listing is huge. That should be a whole separate ball game. It needs its whole own video, its own worksheet, a section on keyword research. This is ridiculous. I have a small $35 pay-per-click course on Amazon, just on Amazon pay-per-click. I have multiple units on all the keyword research tools, how they work, how to use them, how to do that, how to write a listing if you want to do it. This is ridiculous. It's a slap in the face. If you're confused, you'll get more from the Amazing Seller podcast and his free private label classroom. And I'm not trying to suck off Scott or anything, but it's true. You'll get way more from that for free, and it'll be more up to date than if you go through this SoSe webinar course. So again, half of the appeal of PAC is that we've got all these courses and stuff, but a lot of them are just bashed together webinars, and it comes from Jim Cockrum's philosophy of make the material, i.e. the blog posts, the webinars, and then use the material you've already got to come up with a course. Well, that kind of works, but it kind of doesn't work in the case of an educational course that people are supposed to spend. All these courses sell separately, standalone. If I paid a couple of $100 for a series of webinars, I would be pissed. Okay, I don't think that's very good. Some of the other courses I went through the Coffee Masterclass. Again, what I was expecting to learn about was essentially I wanted to learn about the whole spectrum of selling coffee, from capsules to Keurig to private label the capsules, the beans, where you can source basic shit, basic information. I know how to sell on Amazon, okay, but tell me about the intricacies of coffee. How does that work? All that stuff. And again, what did I see from the coffee masterclass when I went through it? And I timed this when my wife and well, she was a young baby back then. They'd gone back to Russia. My wife's Russian, and my kid was born in Moscow. And I timed it for when they were away, because usually they go back a couple of times a year, and that's when I try and go intensive on any course learning materials. And I got, the same thing, webinar. And it's like each one is an hour and a half or something. And I sit there and I just think, I've only got so much time in the day. I'm busy. You're probably busy as well. Which is, even this video is going on way too long. And it's just no good. It's not a good structured way of learning. It's just a freaking ramble session for like 5, 6, 7 hours. If it's an online course, can you just give me a unit? Unit 1, what type of coffee you can private label. Unit 2, how you can sell it. Bundles, multi-packs, yada yada. Unit 3, wholesaling coffee. Unit 4, retail arbitraging coffee. Unit 5, how to get approved for grocery to sell coffee. Unit 6, specifics of coffee, where to source it, how long to source it, how much to buy, MOQs, what kind of things you need to say to suppliers. Shit, that's off the top of my head, and that's like 6 or 7 things. It's not difficult. It's not rocket science. Please just give me some structure. Don't give me a webinar. So that was another unit within PAC, which straight up just isn't good enough. And I don't, honestly, it doesn't mean you can't use these materials and be successful. What I'm saying is it's very far from optimal. Some of the other things, they have got some like decent webinars in there. Another thing they do, one thing I bought into every year, they have a CES, they have a big sellers meetup in like Las Vegas, I think, or something. They have a guest panel, lots of experts, and what they do is you can either go live, or you can buy a ticket to the replay. And I bought a ticket to the replay again. This was a couple of years ago. I thought, yeah, that sounds good. It was pretty cheap. I'll give it to Jim. He has very fair pricing, and that's one really positive thing I have to say about him, because everyone's trying to rip you for everything they can get, pretty much, in this space, because it's the gold rush. So I watched this, I watched all these different guests, and again, I have to say most were shit. No offense or anything, but they just weren't that good. They had, at the time, their one guy who was their main private label person. He had private labeled these women that had been free from sex slavery making soap. So essentially, it's women that, the terrible human slave trade, basically, that still goes on. So there's programs where these women can get help and they can be freed, and then obviously, because they may not have the work skills, there are these programs which are kind of like rehabilitation programs for them. And one of them was they were making soap. So this guy approached one of these places that makes the soap, and he private labeled, basically obviously these ladies make the soap, and he slapped his own label on it. He private labeled it, well, more or less white label, and he called it Freedom Soap, and it made it a powerful sales hook, and it became a super popular thing. So he was the guy they would wheel out as their success. Everyone has, every course has a couple of go-to students that they kind of like in a display case. And so it was really interesting what he did, and it was all good. It was successful. He had found something. He'd made it work for himself, which is great. What wasn't great is when somebody from the audience said, "Oh, what are your tips for finding private label products?" No offense to the guy, but his answer was, "Well, just go around the shops and keep your eyes open." I'm paraphrasing. And honestly, I was watching that, and my freaking jaw hit the floor. I thought, this guy's probably paid God knows how many hundreds of dollars to come to this conference, to book a room in Las Vegas in the hotel, and he's come to this, the Love Fest, and here's the guy who's supposed to be the private label expert, and he said, how do I get ideas? And this, and he says, just go to the frickin' shops and keep your eyes open. I couldn't believe it. I'm still outraged about that. That was the biggest load of bullshit I've ever heard. You know, you could have. There's a million things you could have said for good ideas. Okay, you could have even given the bad advice, which is start looking at the top 100. Another piece, another piece of advice, you could say, okay, first install Jungle Scout and start searching around for things you like that are passionate about. Check your niches. Another thing, you could use something like the Jungle Scout web app. You can look for the products that sell from between $20 to $30 that are doing 5k plus sales per month, that have one seller. If they have one seller, generally speaking, one buy box is private label. I mean, you could give just simple filters you can use in these powerful tools to generate you a list of 5, 6, 7 pages of ideas. I mean, there's literally 1,010 ways you could do it, and there's lots of other, and it isn't a bad idea going to the shops, and you go to the hardware store, have a look around, see, okay, start looking at stuff that sells for $10, have a quick check on Amazon. But that's weak. That's seriously weak. That's not enough. I mean, basically, the guy couldn't reverse engineer what he had done. And like I said, I'm sure he went on later, probably to make millions and whatever, but he found a thing that worked for him. We all need to find the thing that works for us in our strategy. For everyone, it's a bit different. So I'm just saying that they release these things, but quite often, really the content just isn't that good, and it just isn't that actionable. And I know probably there'll be someone saying, yeah, but I took this. Like I said, I'm not saying you can't use it to do things. Yes, you can, but I'm saying you can do it better. Okay, you can have much clearer instructions, much more concise, logical, organized courses. It's just another one I was quite looking forward to was the Proven Merch course. And that was, the Proven Merch Live. We'll just click into that just so you can have a look what it looks like. I'll just open up so you can have a quick little look. Anyway, this Proven Merch course, because I sell on merch as well, and there was this with these event videos, which again is them doing the repackage thing and panels and stuff like that, and outsourcing, and basically it was another course. In fact, they might have changed it since, because they do seem to change things. Maybe it was this Merch Ready. Anyway, I went through the merch course, and again, it was, to say it was crap is saying nothing. It was complete bullshit. All it was basically an introduction into merch. Now, the videos were nicely structured and nicely put together, but it was like all it was essentially, what is Merch by Amazon, how to sell on, how to set up a Merch by Amazon account, how to check trademarks. This is all important stuff, okay? But that should have been part one. The pre-sale stuff is, here's what merch is, here's how you open an account, here's how you apply, here's how you do this, here's how you do that, here's how you check trademarks. That's it. Then the whole next section should be, what software can you use to research top-selling merch ideas? What strategies can you use to generate designs? What can you do if you're not a designer? What are a list of a load of websites where you can go with free, licensing to use images and stuff like that. How to go and find a freelancer, how to structure a workflow, how to research niches using keywords, what keyword programs. I mean, there's a good piece of software called Merch Informer that I use for, it gives you ideas. It's kind of like the Jungle Scout database, but for merch. Why was there no mention of that? It gave you nothing. It gave you absolutely nothing. No ideas, no strategies. I mean, I looked at it and I just thought, wow, I'm glad I didn't pay money for this. I mean, like I said, it was a great little introduction warm-up. But that's not worth a couple of $100. I'd say it's definitely easier to sell that than it is to sell shirts on merch, I can tell you, because I mean, my merch sales are nothing to write home about, but they pay for my internet, they pay for they probably pay for a month's worth of my boxing training and stuff as well. Or, to be fair, I live in Bulgaria, so these things are cheaper. I'm not in New York, so keep that in mind. But again, it's another example of something which isn't good enough. So although although that all sounds really bad, generally I still think, again, there's still good information in it, and although webinars are a lazy way of doing it, you can still sit there and watch them and pluck things out. So I'm not going to completely shit all over it. It's still very good value for money, and I still do recommend you get it, but I would recommend you get it as an aside to your main thing. So, I mean, I don't recommend you get it if you're into Shopify or some things like that, and I don't really recommend you'd get it if you were into just merch either. But if you were into kind of print on demand stuff on Amazon or any of those other business models, online arbitrage, wholesale arbitrage, all that stuff, then I still recommend PAC. I still think it's very good value for money. And Jim Cockrum is a very good, he's a very legit person in terms of, I don't need to probably tell you what a lot of the online gurus are like. Some of them are complete scammers, like a couple of guys called the Bowser Brothers they were recently sued a couple of months ago. I can't remember what their program was called, but it was kind of like they would get you to their live event and they would pressure sell people and upsell them, and you had people paying $20,000 and they were offering them these packages. It was complete shit. I don't know how anyone, it's like the online selling equivalent of a Nigerian prince mail. I can't believe people got suckered into it, but people do, and we all want to have more freedom in our life and stuff like that. So that's all I want to say. I think Jim's a very good guy. He's very legit. He's got like I said, I don't think the quality of a lot of the stuff in the course is particularly very good, but for the price, it's worth it. As for the coaching, I never took the coaching, but some people complain that they're getting pressured to do it. Personally, I wasn't. I'm sure they have a good team, like I said, so I'm not going to make any comment about that. Probably like with any type of coaching, for some people maybe it works better than for others. They run a very big business made up of lots and lots of things. The last final thing I want to touch upon is the community, the Facebook community. It's an important thing if you have questions. They have a very active, very large Facebook group called My Silent Team, and you can join it without being in PAC, and it's pretty good. It used to be basically only good, well, it used to be mainly about retail arbitrage and any talk of private label, and it would, the official line was, oh, private label, we don't recommend that for newbies. Now they've kind of done a 180 on their private label policy. Now, they still recommend retail arbitrage, but they've come on board with private label a bit more. And they've also got a very good podcast, which has had a couple of guests on recently that have had kind of interesting, slightly different approaches to private labeling stuff. One was somebody, Kinklehead, it's a weird surname. Her podcast was pretty good. So you can get some quite good ideas and some quite good spins on private label, because unfortunately in the private label space, everyone kind of teaches basically the same stuff. And I mean, that's true of me as well. I mean, I have some thoughts and ideas on things like launch and stuff, but my kind of base approach that I put down in my private label book is quite similar to this, the approach that the Amazing Selling Machine uses. It's quite similar to the approach that, say, Scott Volker uses. And these have some genuinely different ideas, and I think there's some courses coming on them soon. But the one thing I want to say about the Facebook community as a kind of something I'll be mentioning in kind of future reviews on a lot of these Facebook communities is they're a little bit cult-like. It's a little bit of a Jim Love fest. And also there is an element of, because Jim is a very devout Christian, obviously they don't like swearing and stuff like that. It's fine if you don't like swearing, you'll say that's fantastic. If sometimes you swear, like me, I swear sometimes, take it for what it is. But sometimes there are problems with the community where there's not much space for, if somebody comes out and they criticize something or they have a beef with something, it gets shut down, it gets moderated pretty fast. And this is, you get different people in groups and stuff, but it can be a problem sometimes because there isn't a voice to properly complain about things, to properly make grievances. Case in point, one thing that pissed me off recently, a lady from the UK was in there, and she had had something going with another one of the sellers in the group from the States, and basically she had paid this lady $3,000, and it was she was supposed to kind of buy up some inventory and list it and sell it for, I think, Christmas or something. Now, this lady was a regular, regular, I guess you'd say, commenter, trusted person in the community. She'd done it before. They had done transactions before. Everything was okay. And they had also, everything had been okay. But what happened this time, something had gone wrong. The products didn't sell. It didn't work. And the lady wanted to get her money back, and she couldn't. And she wasn't getting any response from the lady she'd sent the money to, not via private message, not via anything. And she said in a comment, can somebody please help me, because she's refunded other people in the group, but I'm being ignored. What can I do? Can you do something about it? And then the comments come in, and they're all along the lines of, oh, this isn't a court of law. You need to, or if you think she's done something wrong, you should, lawyer up. And it's like, fuck you. She's in the UK. How is she going to lawyer up against some lady in America? I mean, what's she going to spend thousands and thousands of dollars? It's going to be a complete nightmare. How the hell does that even work? That's a bullshit comment from whoever wrote that. That's a pussy, weak ass bullshit comment. I mean, there's, it's easy to sit there and say to somebody, well, you better just get yourself a lawyer and sue. That's not an answer. How about we get the community to properly reach out to this woman and do something about it? Okay, somebody's got a legitimate claim. I'm not talking about people that come in and hearsay this or that, okay, or just somebody coming in saying negative things. I'm not talking about that. This lady has a legit case, and that's $3,000. That's, for a lot of people, that's a lot of money. And basically, in some of the other comments, one of the official moderators, because they have paid moderation, and they mod around the clock, was, oh, I'm sorry, we don't condone public confrontation in this group, yada yada yada, and some other, And I actually commented myself. I think it probably got deleted afterwards, but I commented, and I want to reiterate this point, that that's a bullshit answer. That is weak source. This lady, the only reason she even sent that money is because of the trust surrounding that community. She felt safe that this is Jim's safe space, and if I come here, this lady, everyone can see her. She, everyone does business. Everything's fine. It's a trust thing, okay? Everything is built on trust in business and probably in life. And the only reason was because of the trust in Jim and his community and the thing he created, that she was going to be protected if she did something. And that's what happened. The community turns around and says, oh, I'm sorry, we don't support confrontation. Oh, maybe you should go and lawyer up. It's like, well, this lady's being ignored and she's out of pocket, seriously out of pocket. That's completely disgusting. And I did say in the comment, you should at least reach out via a back channel, because the people, the moderators running the group, they know this woman. They know who she is. They can contact her any time. She works with other sellers on there, for goodness sake. I mean, come on. In my opinion, if you run that community, then you've got a responsibility to help sort this situation out, or at least, like I said, back channel, get these two people, contact the woman and say, listen, so-and-so is saying X, Y, Z, what's your side of the story? Because maybe the woman from the UK was full of shit. I don't know. I can go on a group and I can post anything. I can say whatever I want. But the point is, it needs to be addressed. And to say we don't do confrontation, that's the most pathetic response I've heard. And I lost a lot of respect for the group since that, because what's the point in coming to a group if I can't voice a criticism of something without somebody shutting it down? Okay? I don't know if you're like me, but when I go into a group, I don't need freaking cheerleading and cult leadership. I'm not in anyone's tribe. I'm not in anyone's whichever fucking buzzword you want to use. I want to come into a group and I want to ask a question, and I would like to get a collection of answers. Okay? I don't want to suck down any Kool-Aid. Just give me, if I come in and I say, listen, I didn't this unit looks like it could be done better or whatever. Well, I don't know. Should I be shut down instantly, or can we maybe talk about things without having and sometimes confrontation is sometimes you need confrontation. That's just a fact of life. So I wanted to say that about the community. By all means join, by all means ask questions, but the censorship's a little bit hardcore. And I don't know, even making this video, I might get removed from that group because I'm going to be doing some course reviews, and I'm a reasonably active member in quite a few different Facebook groups. And well, probably, I don't know, I might get removed from those groups because unfortunately people don't like a voice of dissent. So that's why I made this video. That's my opinion of Jim Cockrum's course. Okay, take it as it is. That's what I think. Haven't gone through all the courses, so do keep that in mind. I've just talked about the ones I've seen. I've not really been impressed with them at all. But remember, the important thing is I still, regardless of the things I've said, and like I said, I know, you know, I'd maybe get a little bit carried away in some places, but my base point, I still feel that at the price point and the amount of information you get and the updates, I still think it's a worthwhile investment, but I think you're probably better off having it as an aside and as a handy resource to your main course. So again, if you were interested in, say, merch by Amazon, I'd perhaps say prioritize a good quality merch by Amazon course, which I still haven't found one myself actually. So I'm still looking at things. There's a couple of good Kindle books I can recommend, which I thought were actually really good by the Merch Informer blog. But I would recommend going with a standalone course, properly put together for the particular business model you like, whether it's wholesale, online, arbitrage, you know, whatever. Find the guru you trust, find the place you trust and that you feel okay with. And then also, if you've got the money to spare, I think this is like $250, $350, I can't remember, but a lot of most Amazon, Shopify courses, they're all kind of $500, $1,000. You know, that's just the way it is. But this is a good aside. This is okay, and it does have a, like I said, you know, if you're into book sourcing, and it has lots of other things. So you can also dig into things and have a little look around and maybe get some more ideas. They have a very good podcast. Again, I recommend that. The group full of nice people. Again, sometimes to the point where you think, come on. But generally speaking, that's not bad. So that's my honest review of the Proven Amazon course. If you like it, fine. If you don't, whatever. This review is not for people that have already bought the course. If you're in the course, you've already paid your money for it, you've already taken a side, and most people defend retroactively their decisions, okay? That's just a psychological thing we do. I'm not interested in hearing from anyone that's gone through PAC and wants to say, no, you got it wrong, PAC's fantastic, because yada, yada, yada. I'm not interested. I'm not saying it can't work, okay? Anything can work, pretty much, with the right amount of effort. I'm not saying that. This is a review for anyone, for anybody sat on the fence thinking about, okay, I've heard about this PAC, it sounds quite good, but you want more information. So I'm just trying my best to give my honest opinion of what I think about PAC, my thoughts on it, and the thoughts on the community, and some of the other materials they add and upload, like the CES workshop. Okay, it's just some more information for you, a bit more candid from somebody who's gone through the course and who doesn't have any kind of horse in the race. I couldn't care less whether you buy it or you don't buy it. I just want you to know these are my thoughts, just my opinion. Keep that in mind. I'm not, you know, obviously make your own decision, have a little think, and I'm going to be reviewing the low-hanging system next. That's for print-on-demand mugs, t-shirts, and whatnot. So there should be another rambling, long YouTube video on that. Please tune in if you like it. If not, again, it's just an opinion. So if you want to know more about private label, I've got and maybe some stuff on Shopify and print on demand and Etsy, come and check out my website at www.dan-moody.com. Come and have a look around and shoot me an email or any questions. If you have them, I'll be happy to help and happy to answer.